We have all heard the news. School shootings, bombings, and many other tragedies constantly fill our nation with despair. People wonder, what are the root causes of these behaviors? Some speculators believe that violent media may be the cause of these things. And more narrowed down than violent media, violent video games may be the cause. As a lifelong gamer such as myself, I sometimes wonder whether these video games have somehow affected who I came to be as a person or have made little impacts on me as I progressed through life. I believe that violent video games have both negative and positive consequences on people depending on the individual. Now, many believe that violent video games only have negative effects on the population. However, when truly researching and discussing the topic, I believe that it is important to distinguish the difference between the terms aggressive and violence to truly understand if these children or adolescents have pre-existing mental disorders. And also, you must consider some of the positive impacts that violent video games make. Now, while these three topics are very important, it is first important to discuss the difference between the terms aggressive and violence. Now, these terms are both very different. Violence can be coined as simply being harm toward another person. Now, this definition could be very broad or it could be very narrow. For example, all of you have seen all over the news the case of Dylan Roof, where he was sitting during a Bible study, pulled out a gun, and shot many innocent people. Now, violence may also be considered as on a football field, two teams of linemen charging at each other after the quarterback sets hunt. Now, while violence may be extreme, aggressiveness may not quite be on that level. Aggressiveness can be defined as going after a goal with tenacity. For example, trying extra hard to get that promotion that you've always wanted. Now, with the definition of these two terms at hand, it's time to get into the meat of the subject. According to a 2013 article written by Christopher Ferguson, pre-existing aggressive tendencies affect those individuals who play violent video games. Now, this is looked at and researched in a medical standpoint. Now, to look at this even further, the amygdala, which is a certain portion of the brain, is affected with some people while playing violent video games. For example, the amygdala is in charge of our emotional state and emotional well-being. Now, according to some people or with some individuals, the amygdala is affected more when playing these violent video games, and with some individuals it is affected less. There is sort of a chemical imbalance which may cause this aggressiveness or violent acts. Now, according to the same article, some individuals, when they play violent video games, like to alienate themselves from social environments or social interactions. This can also be a precursor to aggressive tendencies or violent behaviors. Now, we have looked at some of the negative outcomes of playing these violent video games. However, on the other side of the equation, there lies many positive impacts of playing these video games. Now, to some individuals, violent video games can be a portal or an escape for children to go into who have anger or stress built up from their day. Now, according to society, it is much safer and more acceptable for students to unleash their anger through shooting an enemy in a video game and shooting someone in real life. Now, adolescency is a crucial year. Years where children may be sort of at an imbalance, where they may have mood swings, or they may simply not understand their true identity. It is important for them to have some way for them to channel their anger and frustration. Now, a common myth with violent video games is the fact that many people believe that it's stopping them from being social. Now, of course, they have reason behind why they say this. However, with playing these video games, there are many different ways where children can still be interactive with other children. For example, two people can sit in the same room and play video games together in a multiplayer fashion. Or other examples that when they're not in the same room, when they're playing these video games include Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, and even Skype. Now, when researching the topic of aggressive behaviors in individuals, you must understand the difference between violence and aggression. Also, you must look into the fact that maybe these children already have aggressive tendencies, and it's just a matter of tipping the scale and making them unleash their aggression or unleash their violence. And also, while of course there may be negative impacts, there also are some positive ones that arise from it. I believe that violent video games are both positive and negative depending on the certain individual. Now behind me here are written some ESRB ratings of video games. These are the standard ratings that are used in all of video games. E for everyone, T for teen, M for mature, and AO for adults only. Now, these ratings are there for a reason. I challenge parents to truly understand all of the good or bad consequences that may arise from buying or letting your children play these violent video games. Thank you.